What's up, y'all? It's Leonard with Zen Holistic Fitness, and in this video, we're continuing the planche masterclass. So if you saw my previous video, I showed you everything I know about training planche. This is part 2 of that video. So let's keep the momentum going. Get the pen and pad out. You're going to want to take notes on this because I'm giving you all the information about training planche properly, training it effectively, all the proper form cues with your scapula, your shoulders, the core engagement. This is going to accelerate your progress and have you getting full planche in no time. So with that out of the way, let's jump right into the video.
First up, we're training tuck planche press to handstand. I'm using a resistance band under my center of mass, under my waist, to assist me. You protract your scapulas hard in the tuck planche, and you use your front delts to press your body into a handstand, keeping your elbows locked the entire time. This is one of the most functional straight arm pushing exercises you can do, and it is a fundamental exercise for building planche strength. Next up is band assisted 90-degree holds. Again, I'm using a resistance band under my center of mass. You start out in a pike position with your arms overhead. This is to ensure proper form engagement. From the pike position, you lean into a planche lean and engage your proper protraction and proper posterior pelvic tilt. Whilst maintaining proper protraction and posterior pelvic tilt, you bend your elbows and hold the 90-degree position for time. I'm going for a 10-second hold. This exercise is key for building bent arm planche strength. You need to separate the bent arm strength from the straight arm strength to ensure you target your weaknesses individually. Next up is band assisted 90-degree handstand push-up negatives. You start out in a handstand position. I straddle my legs to ensure the band stays in place. From there, you slowly lower down through the 90-degree handstand push-up, going as slow as possible. The goal is to make one rep last for 10 seconds. This is another key exercise for building bent arm pushing strength, so you can eventually start doing the positive portion of the 90-degree handstand push-up. As you can see, I lowered down pretty quickly, which means I've got a lot of work with cleaning this movement up. The goal is to get slower and slower with it each time you work out and really work on that time under tension. Next up is planche lean push-ups. You start out in a pike position to ensure you engage proper form. From the pike, you lean forward into a planche lean and engage scapula protraction and posterior pelvic tilt. I'm going for 5 reps per set of this exercise. The goal is to do the push-up with control and with proper form, and to hold the top position with your elbows locked out for a second or two. This is one of the most foundational and the most fundamental planche exercises you can do, and it is a must-do for everyone in their planche journey. Lastly, we're doing planche lean scapula push-ups superset with one arm scapula push-ups. So you lean forward into a planche lean, scapulas protracted and posterior pelvic tilt engaged. From there, you shrug your scapulas back and forth between protraction and retraction. This further develops the scapula strength needed for holding the full planche. After the planche lean scapula push-ups, you jump right into one-arm scapula push-ups. This isolates the work of each scapula separately, so you can ensure each scapula and each shoulder blade is functioning properly. Doing one arm at a time allows you to work on any muscular imbalances in the body, and it is a great way to keep you strong, healthy, and injury-free. I'm doing 10 reps of the planche lean scapula push-ups, and then I'm doing 5 reps per arm of the one-arm scapula push-ups. Rest for 2 to 3 minutes between each set, and repeat for 3 rounds total. First up, we're doing tuck planche slides for 5 reps. You grab the bars, push your scapulas into protraction, causing your upper back to round. You push your hips down while engaging your core, causing posterior pelvic tilt. You squeeze your glutes, and you slide your feet up into tuck planche. Notice how low I am keeping my hips. This move trains you to extend your legs back while maintaining proper core and glute engagement. Training the tuck planche slide will help you go from tuck planche to the advanced tuck planche without arching your back. Next, we're doing tuck planche slides, but instead of counting reps, we're going for 20 seconds. Switching from counting reps to a timed duration ensures you are hitting a specific amount of time under tension. I might be able to rush 5 tuck planche slides in 5 seconds, but if I go for a set duration, I am ensuring my muscles are under tension for a specific amount of time. Time under tension is an important variable in your workout program, and you must make note of how much time under tension you are experiencing in your workouts in order to ensure you are making progressive overload on a consistent basis. Next up is feet elevated, straddle pike to lean. we're going for 5 reps with a 3-second hold per rep. You start out in a pike position with your arms overhead. You then begin to lean forward into a planche lean. Make sure you engage strong protraction and keep your core engaged, glutes squeezed, and hips low. Lean forward as far as you can while maintaining good protraction and hold for 3 seconds. Press back up into a pike position and repeat for 5 reps total. The reason I'm doing this with my legs straddled is to further emulate the straddle planche position. Next up, we have pseudo planche push-ups. This is a bent arm pressing exercise, so we are strengthening our bent arm pushing strength with this exercise. You point your toes, keep your core engaged, keep your scapulas protracted, and lean forward into a pseudo planche position. From there, you start doing the push-ups. This exercise is one of the best progressions for strengthening your planche and unlocking the planche push-up. Lastly, we have scapula push-ups. For this exercise, you get into the top of a push-up position with your scapulas protracted. You then retract your scapulas, pulling your shoulder blades back. You then push your scapulas down into protraction and repeat. This movement strengthens the muscles responsible for keeping your scapula in protraction and will help you to build strength required for protraction in planche.
First up, we have tuck to advanced tuck planche extensions. I'm using a resistance band under my center of mass to assist me. So let's see what that move looks like. You start in a tuck planche, strong protraction, knees to chest. You extend to a tuck planche, to an advanced tuck, and come back in. Just like that. So we're going to go for 5 reps with this move. Strong protraction for the entire rep, guys. Chin pointed.
You do not want to rush into the advanced tuck planche. I spent so many months just focusing on tuck planche before moving on to the advanced tuck. You want to build a strong base before moving up in progressions. Otherwise, you will just be doing yourself more harm than good.
Oh! I'm going to have to add a second resistance band because this is not quite assisting my body weight enough. So, using the bands allows you to scale the difficulty. Use a thicker band if it's too hard. Use a thinner band if it's too easy, and eventually you won't need a band at all. Now that we've finished the tuck to advanced tuck extensions, we're going to move on to the second move of this routine, and we're going for a tuck planche hold for 30 seconds. So for this move, I'm going to try and keep strong protraction for the entire 30 seconds. Keep my knees tucked to my chest as hard as I can. Keep my upper back rounded, almost like a turtle shell, and then just control my breath and try and hold for 30 seconds. So let's go. Keep that chin pointed. Protraction.
For the tuck planche, you really want to film yourself and be mindful of your scapula position. Take a close look at my upper back and notice how it's rounded and my shoulders are protracted down towards the ground. If there was any amount of retraction in my shoulders, I would be strengthening bad form and slowing my progress. You have to prioritize the proper form and proper engagement over everything in order to ensure you are strengthening good habits and good mind-muscle connection.
As always, rest for 3 minutes and do 3 sets per exercise. Next up, we're doing feet elevated, tuck to advanced tuck planche leans. So it's basically like a tuck planche, but we're keeping our feet on an elevated surface. So I'll show you what that looks like. We're going to go for 5 reps with a 5-second max hold at the end. So you start in tuck planche, you lean to advanced tuck with strong protraction, just like that. And then hold for 5 seconds. Woo. Next we have planche push-up leans. I'm doing this on an elevated surface. The goal is to emulate a planche lean, so I'm leaning forward. I'm keeping my hips rolled forward in posterior pelvic tilt. I'm keeping my hips low. I'm keeping protraction for the entire rep, even when my arms are bent. And then I'm pushing up to a lockout position at the top and really emphasizing the protraction for about a second or two. So 5 reps with a 1 to 2 second pause at the top of each rep. So it'll look something like this.
For the planche lean push-ups, you really want to keep your hips low without making them sag. You are still squeezing your core and tightening your abs while rolling your hips forward into posterior pelvic tilt. The planche lean push-up is honestly one of the best exercises you can do because it mimics the planche so closely, and you can scale this move all the way up to full planche push-ups. All you have to do is slowly lean further forward over time.
Next up, we have handstand holds for 30 seconds. I'm doing this with my toes against the wall. For this move, you really want to lift your shoulders up overhead into extension. So you don't just want your shoulders up here. That will cause your back to arch. You want to get your shoulders up as high as you can. Roll the hips forward into posterior pelvic tilt, and you're almost drawing your navel inward towards your spine. So you're almost sucking your core in, pushing your scapulas up towards your ears as much as possible, squeezing with your fingertips, and trying to make your body look like a straight line, almost like a pencil sticking straight out of the ground. So something like this, again, we're going to go for a 30-second hold time.
For handstand holds, you really want to keep your hands close to the wall you're leaning against. The reason I am doing the handstand hold with my belly facing the wall is because this allows me to get in proper alignment with the handstand. You want to squeeze your fingertips into the ground and try and push your feet high and straight into the air. In order to push your feet up as high as possible, you have to keep your back straight and you have to push your scapulas towards your ears. You basically want to feel as though you're as tall as possible while doing the handstand hold. We are conditioning our body by holding this for 30 seconds. This feels like forever when you're under constant tension.
For the next exercise, we have feet elevated pike push-ups. So the pike push-up mimics the handstand push-up. My goal for the form with this exercise is to maintain a hollow body position. Just like when you're in a hollow body hold on the floor, your back rounds this way rather than arching. You don't want to arch the back this way. The goal is to keep your scapulas protracted, core engaged posterior pelvic tilts, and do the pressing, the overhead pressing in this range of motion, okay? So we're going to go for 5 reps without letting our back arch.
When doing the pike push-ups, it's crucial to have adequate lower body flexibility and mobility. If your lower back, glutes, and hamstrings are too tight and unflexible, you won't be able to properly get into the pike position. Doing hamstring stretches and glute stretches, such as toe touches, are a great idea if you struggle to hold the pike position. You really want to film yourself and review your form after each set to ensure you have the proper form and proper technique.
For our last move of this routine, we're doing feet elevated straddle planche lean circuit. So I'm going to do 30 seconds of a wide grip planche, 30 seconds of a neutral grip, and 30 seconds of a close grip planche. I'm doing it with my feet straddled like this on an elevated surface. The goal with this move is not to lean as far forward as possible. The goal is to lean a bit far forward, but really focus on keeping the body high and creating that space in between your shoulders from that strong protraction. So if you have to lean less far forward, but it allows you to have stronger protraction and get your body in better alignment, do that. The goal is proper alignment and conditioning the body. So this is going to be a minute and 30 seconds of time under tension without rest. So like I said, 30 seconds wide grip, 30 seconds neutral grip, and then 30 seconds closed grip on a feet elevated surface. If y'all are ready, let's jump right into the first 30 seconds. Keep your hips low and just hold for time.
As you can see, I'm not leaning that far forward with this move. I'm focusing on pushing my scapulas and pushing my shoulder blades down towards the ground to round out my back and maintain proper protraction. The goal of this exercise is to condition the muscles responsible for maintaining strong protraction. By holding this protraction for a set amount of time under tension, we are stimulating our body in a novel way. This novel stimulus is a key driver for strength gains and muscle growth.
All right. I'm going to switch. The elevated surfaces, bring the parallettes into neutral grip, and then continue.
My body is not used to holding protraction for such a long time, so by training this move, I am forcing my body to adapt and be more comfortable with proper protraction and proper planche form. With this move, you go wide grip, neutral grip, and close grip. By training the planche lean in different grips, you become a more versatile athlete, and you gain further control over your scapula and its positioning. If 30 seconds is too long, start with a shorter duration and slowly build up over time.
All right. Last but not least, guys, bring the parallettes into close grip. Bring them into close grip. And then finish out for the last 30 seconds. Let's go.
This is a really long time under tension, so you will feel your core on fire by holding the proper posterior pelvic tilt and proper core engagement. That burning sensation you feel in your core is a sign you are pushing your body and forcing strength gains and forcing adaptations in the body. If you feel you are losing protraction, it's better to come down and rest and go back up again when you have strength. You do not want to be practicing bad form. It will only strengthen bad habits, which you do not want to do.
Holy cow. That is a crazy finisher. So for the first exercise, we're doing a modified version of the Planche Box Drill. So basically on the Planche Box Drill, you get two boxes. You rest your arms on the boxes and you press your body weight using your front delt. I don't have two boxes, so I'm using the dip bars, which you can use as an alternative. So you lay across them. You put your shoulders on one end of the dip bars. You grip the bars in a supinated grip and you press up and you hold and you practice lowering the planche. You can do it in full. You can do it in tuck planche, straddle. You can do any variation of planche. And if you have an elevated structure overhead, you can even use a resistance band around your waist to assist you with this progression. So I'm going to do it unassisted. We're going to go for 5 reps of the hardest progression we can do. So I'm going to try halfway straddle planche. All right. So 5 reps of presses. The next exercise we're going to do is tuck to advanced tuck extensions. I'll be using a resistance band to assist me. So you're going to start out in a tuck planche, and then you're going to extend into an advanced tuck. So when you're doing the advanced tuck, you really don't want your back to arch like this. You want to keep your back rounded, core engaged, posterior pelvic tilt. So instead of imagining kicking your legs back and just focusing on going out, imagine you're in the tuck planche and you're just letting your knees drop down, okay? So instead of kicking your legs back, that's gonna make your back arch. You're gonna go from tuck planche and you're just gonna let your knees go low, okay? And by letting them go low, you're gonna get into the advanced tuck with the proper body alignment, all right? So again, we're gonna go for 5 reps, and then we're gonna go for a 5-second hold time at the end of the 5th rep. Get your parallel centered under the resistance band, tuck planche, advanced tuck. And then hold for 5 seconds. You want to keep strong protraction the entire time and keep your chin pointed forward the entire time. You don't want your head to droop down. So film yourself, check on your form, strive for the best form you can achieve. For our next exercise, we're doing Pike lean into 90-degree hold with a resistance band to assist us. So we're going to start out in a Pike position, which is where your arms are overhead like this. And the reason we start out in a Pike is because it forces your body to get into that proper planche alignment before you even start leaning forward, okay? So you get the form cue before your body is under tension. So from the Pike, we're gonna lean forward into a planche lean, proper protraction, core engagement, glutes engaged, maintain that protraction, and then we're gonna bend our elbows and lift our feet off the ground into a 90-degree hold, and we're gonna hold for 10 seconds. So again, prioritize good form. If you need a thicker band, use a thicker band, but you really wanna get the proper technique in. So pike position. Next up, we're doing planche lean push-ups to protraction. You guys know this by now. You know the form cues: posterior pelvic tilt, scapula's protracted, chin pointed, hip low. We're gonna lean into a planche lean as far as we can comfortably maintain protraction. Start doing push-up. We're gonna go for 5 reps, and we're gonna hold the top for about a second for each rep, okay? So, toe is pointed, strong protraction, chin pointed, glute squeezed, hips rolled forward, lean forward. For our next exercise, we're doing feet elevated pike push-up. So you get yourself an elevated surface. In this case, I'm using my stall ladder on my calisthenics gym. So you elevate your feet, hold at your hips. You try and keep your body in a straight line, your torso, okay? You don't want your back to arch this way. You keep everything rounded. Keep your scapula protracted, and you press overhead in this range of motion, okay? So we're gonna go for 10 reps of the feet elevated pike push-up. All right. There's 10 reps. And then we're going to move on to the final exercise of this routine. For the last exercise of this routine, we're doing a handstand hold for 30 seconds. I'll be doing this with my toes against the wall. So you're going to walk your feet up into a handstand. Keep your scapulas pushed as far overhead and as far towards your ears as you can get them. You squeeze your core. Draw your navel inward, roll those hips, squeeze those glutes, point your toes, and you want to get your body basically looking like a straight line, almost like a pencil sticking out of the ground, okay? So you're gonna walk in and then hold for 30 seconds. All right. That will conclude the planche routine. This is gonna get your shoulders super strong. It's gonna get your core strong. It's gonna help you learn the planche. These are a lot of very unique, very specific planche exercises. So I hope you found something in this video useful. If you like this video, click the like button, comment what video you want to see next, subscribe to stay updated, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay tuned for more.